Hello and welcome to this episode of More Than Just Mum, the podcast with myself, Heather Palfreman, and Lucy Piper from Any Little Thing. I am really excited to be having these conversations with some absolutely incredible women, sharing their journey and their stories of motherhood and business, the challenges, the ups and downs, the successes, and everything in between. And yeah, really excited to welcome Lucy today. So, hi, Lucy, how are you?
Hello, I'm very excited. Well done for
Fabulous.
getting into the podcast swing of things.
Thank you. It's
Very,
only
very happy
taken
for you.
4 years, but we
Yeah,
are here.
we're there.
And that is the first lesson of the day. We're going to jump straight in. Is that, if you've got a goal, if you've got something that you want to achieve, don't ever give up on it. Like, if it ends up being 5 years later, 10 years later, 3 months later, like, if it's something that's important to you, then don't ever give up on it. Timing will happen. The timing will
Yeah,
happen. And here we are. It's 2025. I'd said I was going to do this in 2021. But we are here. And we've all got even more of a story to tell, even more of a journey to tell. So, Lucy, just tell our listeners who you are, where you're from, what you do, and a little bit about you.
okay. So I'm Lucy. I'm from sunny Essex, or not so sunny Essex today. It's freezing here today. I've got two layers on, haven't I? So, um, I have been in and out of business and business ideas, running them alongside jobs, 9 to 5 jobs or restaurant jobs since I was probably about, well, mid 20s, I'd say. I've been in network marketing businesses. I've had a couple of those. Really enjoyed that. Um, and then in latter years, in 2016, I set up business with my business partner Lisa, who I worked together with her, as part of my 9 to 5 life, and we worked at a care company. Well, it wasn't a care company; it was a centre for adults with learning disabilities. And this particular company, I saw that they'd sort of set up a home help service, and I said to Lisa, I said, "Oh, we could probably do something like that. Like we wouldn't do the care side of things, which they were doing as well, but we could do all the other bits and bobs in between." So we started that up in 2016. Fell pregnant with Sebi 2017. Had him in the November. I was very nervous about telling Lisa that. Hey, we've just started up a business, and by the way, I'm now pregnant. Um, so timing there was a little bit off par, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And then in the last year or so, I've started consultancy work where I help women in business find the right care path for their elderly loved ones, because you learn as you go, don't you, in business? You learn how to adapt, but you also learn
Yeah,
how you can grow and teach people new things. So that's what I love about business. But
yeah.
yeah, in a nutshell, I won't tell you about all of the jobs I've had. Just trust me when I say they've all contributed towards how I run my business today.
Amazing. And I think there's a couple of lessons there. One I've forgotten already, but one of them is that, whatever we do in life, it does all contribute to where we're at now, whether that is where we want to be or whether it's where we don't want to be. And if it's where you don't want to be, then you've got a decision to make to change that path and,
Yeah.
and to go on a different one. Um, but I was speaking about this on the podcast that I recorded previously, and we were saying that everything that you do, whether it's the outcome that you wanted or not, is a lesson or a learning and or
Definitely.
a success. And I think, for those people who are maybe listening to this who aren't in business yet, or who are just starting out in business, or maybe you've been in business a little while, like we have, and you're going, oh God, this is really frustrating. I'm not where I want to be. Keep going, like keep focusing on
Yeah.
your goals. And you might invest in one course, or you might invest in something, you might invest in something else, and you might not get what you wanted from it, but you'll always get something from it. Um,
Definitely.
so yeah, and I know that we've known each other quite a few years now, and we've had a few conversations, haven't we? Over
Yes.
coffee. We even met in London, and we went to let's not call it Instagram studio, but we'll call it the Instagram
Yeah,
studio. And
it was
you
it was a
know,
shoot, darling. It was a shoot.
it was a shoot. And again, this is something that's come up quite a few times. Is it's these connections and these relationships that you make online that have such a great power and help and are super helpful in you moving forward and
Yeah.
staying in business as well. So, do you want to share a little bit more about either how you got into your business? Obviously, you've mentioned briefly about the care home and what they were doing,
Yeah.
um, and then how you've sort of navigated mum life a little bit because it's definitely a challenge, isn't it?
It really, really is. I'm quite a stubborn person. I'm very independent. I don't like people doing things for me, generally speaking. So that made giving birth and having a child quite difficult in the kind of repairing stage. Let's not talk too much about that. But I think I'm quite determined as well. And that's really good most of the time. Sometimes puts me under a lot of pressure because just linking in with what you were saying earlier, we very much want to be there, don't we? And it's good to have goals,
Impatient.
it's good to move. But yes, I'm very impatient and I do get shiny object syndrome. I've got that really, really bad. But when someone actually repeats back to you what you've done and what you've achieved, or reads back to you something you've written, when I listen back to this podcast, I'll probably go, oh, yeah, wow, I have done that. And I don't know why your brain does that, but it does. It's a little trick there. So listen back to yourself, telling yourself how good you
Hmm.
are. But anyway, in the early days of our business, I was obviously pregnant. We didn't have as much of a client base then. So it was easier, but me and Lisa were out on the road. It would have just been me and her, and we had like maybe one member of staff. Now, just to paint the picture, we've got 11 members of staff
Amazing.
and our bookkeeper, so 12 really, and 75 and growing customers. Like it does go up and down a bit because obviously the nature of what we do, caring for the elderly. But I took Seb to work with me for about 18 months of his life. I didn't really have maternity leave, and I do regret that, but then I don't.
Hmm.
Um, I also had my horse at the time as well, so I don't know how I fit it all in, to be honest with you. But I used to take him and his little carry thing, what are they called? Car
Carry
seats. That's it.
car seat thing.
Yeah,
Been a while, hasn't it?
I've forgotten it all. If I had a child now, God, flip, poor thing, I wouldn't be able to remember how to do anything. But yeah, he came to work with me for 18 months. So at the time, we just did cleaning. We didn't really do much else. Now we
Yeah.
sort of do a lot of appointment runs and helping people with, I don't know, things at home or companionship calls and
Mm.
stuff. So at the time, we were very, very much just cleaning. Um, so I'd take the child in. Hi, Mavis, or whoever it was, and bring the cleaning kit in. Oh, I don't need you to do cleaning today. Oh, okay. So you learn all the things as you go, even the small
Yeah.
things that you think don't mean much. And as hard as that was, I think it probably stopped me from a bit of postnatal depression, I think, because I'm that person that likes to be busy,
Hmm.
and is always all over the place, doing all of the things. So the start of Seb's life for him, I mean, he doesn't know, does he? Because he was a little baby, it was probably quite boring. We did still get to sensory classes and phonics classes
Yeah.
when he was a bit older, but I don't regret it. I don't regret it. But yeah, it did make life quite chaotic at the time. And now I do think that Seb's comprehension and his ability to talk to anybody of any age
Mm.
is all to do with the fact that he's come to work with mummy over the years. So I wouldn't take it back for that reason. But yes, it's been a little bit of a roller coaster. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. And I think, part of motherhood is you get one stage sus and you're like, oh my God, yes, like I'm smashing it. I'm the mum of the world or the best mum at whatever. And then like maybe a few days later, the shit hits the fan or one of them doesn't go like obviously I've got two. But obviously some listeners might not know that I have got two kids. One of them might not go to bed on time, so then that flays everything
Yep.
else out, or
Yep.
whatever it is, or your child might be off school sick, and then that knocks everything else for the rest of the week. And
Yeah.
it's just like fucking hell, like it's like one constant battle. But on top of that, whether you've got a business or not, if you haven't got a business, you've probably got a job or a career and you're like juggling that and it is just this constant like I don't like using the word juggle because that sounds really, really busy, but
Constant management.
it is
Yeah.
management and making sure that, we spoke about capacity this morning, making sure you've got that capacity to be able to take all of that stuff on. And it can sometimes feel really overwhelming. You just go, oh my
Mm.
God, I just need to get off this roller coaster.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times like Lisa and I have probably thought, gosh, you know, can we do this? Because of bad things that come up in the
Mm.
business that have sort of challenged us. And then on top of that, you've got mum life, haven't you? Where you're like, right, what's the point? I'm not really earning much money at the moment. Like, why am I doing this? And then you got like the husband saying, well, what did you do today? Because, you know, the house looks like a poo hole and you've been running here, there, and everywhere. Like it, I feel like every area of your life, no matter what the stage. I mean, my husband's a lovely person, by the way. He's not that horrible to me. But over the years, I'm sure that's been mentioned sometimes. I'm
There's,
just trying to
there's,
protect
there's always no matter how lovely someone is, there's always going to be like a couple of digs here
yeah,
and there,
it's
isn't
going to
there?
be a
Because
little
we do it to them. We aren't perfect. We do it to those as
yeah.
well. I'm
Doing a lot
just
of
going
that
to get that
lately.
in there just as the
Yeah,
the
yeah,
balance.
the balance it out. Yeah. I've forgotten where I was going now, but I think I said everything I was going to on that. But yeah, it moves and changes a lot, doesn't it? And
Yeah, and
um,
the expectation that
yes,
we put on ourselves,
yeah,
as
yeah,
well as what we expect others around us as well to have, is huge.
yeah. And also as well, I think, and social media has a lot to do with this. And I know that we talk about it, but our brains still can't get heads around it. Just because it looks like someone else has got their shit together does
Mm,
not necessarily mean that they have got their shit together. Um, we're all on the similar kind of journey, a same kind of journey. You know, for those who've got kids at school, got to do the school drop off, that's the same. And then you've
mm.
got to earn a living most of the time, like that's the same. Like, and women do work more now than they used to. They don't just drop the kids off at school. So we have all got a very similar path. We just do it a bit differently.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't compare yourself to anyone else either.
No, and I think that's really important. I did see, funnily enough, I think it was on social media the other day, and I saw a reel all about Facebook and
Yeah.
social media and how, you know, I think it was very, very blunt. It was like, are you not stupid wasn't the right word, but I'm going to go with that because that's what's coming from. Are you stupid? Do you really think that what they are putting on social media is real life? You do not see any of the other shit that goes on behind the scenes. The crying, the shouting, the screaming, the throwing I'm a bugger for throwing if I come upstairs with my shoes on, which I'm not meant to. I throw them back downstairs because I can't bother walking all the way downstairs to go all the way back up. So I'll throw them down the stairs. But you don't see any of that.
No.
I mean, it's a great job that you can't see my office right now, right? Because in my head it's
I
lovely
think
and
I've got a
clean
wall
and
behind
pristine,
me.
you know? But if I was going to do a photo to go on to Instagram, this would all be clear. You know what I mean? It'd look beautiful because expectations. And how can you be a
Yeah.
good coach if you've got a shitty house or
Yeah,
not
I
a
know what you
shitty
mean.
house, like an untidy house? But
Yeah.
then most people's houses have got piles or
Yeah.
the drawer of shit or the drawer of doom,
Oh yeah,
right? When
definitely got
people
one of those.
come
Got
round,
a whole
someone's
room
coming
of doom
round
upstairs.
quickly. Yeah. And and it's this very much, if you're on social, if you're showing up on Facebook, then your house must be, Insta worthy. And that just puts on so much pressure, even if we're not
Yeah.
thinking about it.
Yeah. It's the
Um,
subconscious, isn't it?
it's there
I
all the time, yeah.
I would say to then just think about what's really important in life. This is how I balance it out. Just think about what's important in life, especially in the line of work that I do, because obviously I work with elderly
Hmm.
people. They're older, and last year I lost a couple of friends that were taken too soon. Does it really matter? And all throughout my career as a carer as well, honesty is the best policy. So I think
Mm.
sometimes actually, if you did reveal your messy, I'm sure it isn't messy in comparison to my front room,
I'll
but if
send
you
you a
did,
photo after.
but if you did and you said, this is me today, like, my priority is you and I'm looking after you, my client,
Yeah.
people would probably go, oh my God, yeah, she knows exactly what I'm going through.
And do you know what? It'd probably be the most engaged post I've ever
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, probably. Oh, look, she's got, yeah, look at the corner over there.
And it is mad, isn't it? Because when there's been a couple of times where I've posted a photograph of me crying or down or upset, and that is where I've had the most engagement. And I know we're not talking about social media and engagement and stuff today, but we never know where this conversation's going, do we,
No, no.
Lucy? And and because people want connection. People don't
Yeah.
want to be sold to all day long. People want to know that you give a shit about their problem, about their issue, that you understand. God, I'm quite good at this. Like, when you're just talking, you're like, is that me? Is that coming out of my mouth?
Yeah, you did it.
And and people want to feel heard and people want to feel seen.
Yeah,
So
I've got to get better at that, I think, because I do know how people feel, but I don't always I think another thing, and I don't know whether this is related to motherhood, but sometimes you're not open because you think that subconsciously somewhere in your head, even though I don't think I'm like this, that then makes you perhaps a little bit vulnerable. That then makes you, so it's not about what people think, it's just, well, it is, but not in the way that we think it is, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
That's a weakness in me. I can't show that weakness, even though that's what people relate to and they want to hear and see. Somewhere in
mm,
your brain, it's going, they can't do that. No, no, be strong. And that's what we do as mums, as women in
yeah.
business, or
Yeah.
just women in general.
Yeah, and again, this comes back to a conversation I was having earlier today. Was in the playground, you're like, "How are you? Yeah, I'm fine, thanks." Or if you're out and about, or if you're at work, or you go into the office or whatever. Hi, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. And that is literally it. Like we don't really have, and that's why these online spaces and these online communities, I feel, are so important
Mm,
to validate how others are feeling, support them on that, but also then celebrate them when they have the wins, or
yeah,
when people recognize that actually 6 months ago they would have just, if their son would have come in on a Zoom call, they would have just completely and utterly lost their shit because they were at work. Now they stay calm, okay, and they go out and they say, excuse me, I'm just going to be a minute, and I'm
yeah,
just going to go. And like those are the moments there that aren't celebrated enough, because that's massive. That is
yeah,
huge.
yeah.
Um, and I feel like we've gone off on a complete tangent, and I don't know where I was going with this.
Well, no, it's real life, isn't it? It's
But yeah,
real life, and again, people relate to it.
and having that support. So, can you tell us a little bit more about your consultancy and what you do and how you can maybe help some of our listeners?
Yeah.
It sounds like a
So
radio show.
I love it. I love it. Just on a side note, my business partner always says to me, "Oh, Lucy, you're just itching to be famous, aren't you?" I'm like, no. But any like podcast interview, photo opportunity, I'm there. TV, here I come. Um, I noticed over the last 8 years or so that there was a real sort of lack in information and support and just literally like simply pointing people in the right direction when it came to elderly care. So any little thing is a business in itself, and that runs very well, and we're very well known in the area. Um,
So just let people know again, like where you're based. Come on, let's make it really
so
clear so that if
I'm
they
in
want to find
Essex.
you.
Yeah, we're in Essex, Billericay, Essex. But we operate in Billericay, Wickford, Basildon, and parts of Brentwood. So that's where we are. Um, and we offer things like shopping, cleaning, household chores, taking people to appointments, because the free service that we have here in Essex is dire. And taxis won't obviously accompany you in. Going out for trips, just simply sitting with someone with a cup of tea or offering respite. So really love what we do there. And then I was on a retreat last year. It's taken me a while to build my confidence around it and sort of really find out what my messaging is. But um, I was with a group of women in business, and two of them out of five had elderly parents. And so I came up with the idea of supporting women in business because they both had to take time out of their business and they lost quite a bit of money. Not because I mean, they didn't resent doing that. It was a
Hmm.
necessity in their eyes, that it usually is. Um, But if they'd have had a service like mine where I basically hold hands with them through the whole process, I've got a couple of different programs that I offer, um, where I'll do the research. I will take the time to look at the options that are
Yeah.
available. I might help them fill out paperwork, find out what paperwork they need to fill out, things like that, because that all takes time. So then we both know, and your listeners know what it's like being a mum in business. So to then add into the mix, caring for a loved one, no wonder people do put their business on hold.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, really enjoying it. And then for people that maybe can't quite afford to work with me one to one, then I do my spa retreat days, which are really popular. So they get a bit of group time, meet like-minded people, but also get a bit of one-to-one time with me as well. And we will get a treatment and lunch, which is an added bonus. So
Amazing.
yeah, really enjoying it.
Amazing. And I think it is a really, I don't know anything else out there like what you do. I think it's very, very unique and I think it's very, very much needed. Um, my experience has been the other end of the scale with my son being very, very
Mm,
poorly last
yeah.
year. Diagnosed with Crohn's at the age of 8, well, a week before his 8th birthday.
Oh,
And
bless him.
I have got two businesses. One of them pays me whether I work or not, which covers all the bills, which is an absolute bloody godsend. But my coaching, more than just mum, I did because that had to go, like, that had to take a bit of a back seat. I had to take some
Yeah,
time out. So because family first,
yeah,
always family first. And, at the other end of the scale, obviously, where you're helping um the older people with the elderly people and their relatives and their support because people just probably don't even know that this is out there.
no,
My dad has had MS for nearly 40 years and he struggled and I mean I lived 2.5 hours away so I couldn't do his shopping and stuff for him but
no,
if there was a service like that in the area then it would have taken the pressure off my brothers and sisters who were all working full time with kids etc. Because
yeah,
there's a lot, isn't there? There's a lot to and like you said with the research as well, I mean, the amount of medication that we had to like read through and all of this, and it's just it's overwhelming.
yeah.
So if
And
there's someone to do
unfortunately,
that, yeah.
I won't go into it in detail because we'll be here all day. But unfortunately, what happens as well is the different departments that look after your loved ones, and this may well happen with your son as well, they don't always communicate that well because I have my views on the healthcare sector. And it's not their fault, it's the way that it's sort of being run. And the boundaries and the red tape that they have to work around. But if you throw that into the mix as well, people, the professionals aren't communicating, you don't know where to go,
Mm.
you feel lonely, and you're also thinking about your business and stressing about losing money there, and all of these things then come to a head, and you just sit stagnant and not doing anything probably. Well,
In freeze.
definitely, yeah. And
Yeah,
people want to do the best for their family. Why shouldn't you be able to do that? So yeah, it's
yeah.
you've inspired me to maybe support other generations as well, actually.
There you go. And it's these conversations that are so so important. And you know, are you are you a franchise at the moment?
We're not. So this is one of our, I'm going to be very raw and honest here. This is one of
Do,
our
do I
hiccups that we
need
came across.
to, okay, do I need to cut this bit out or are you
No,
happy
no, no,
to
no,
talk
not
about
at
it?
all.
Okay, cool.
I won't name and shame, but we got very excited, invested in a company that were going to help us franchise, and they helped us put all the paperwork in place, and I'm pretty sure that's legit. We had a look over it, and they use solicitors and this, that, and the other. And then when it came to actually putting us out there, they kind of just dropped us. It was almost like they took the money, did a little bit of groundwork. We had a few coaching calls, maybe one potential investor that they lined up, and then that was it. They went dead, they went quiet. And
Okay.
so Lisa and I kind of lost our confidence a little bit because we were like, oh gosh, is that because people don't want to buy a franchise? Is that because it's not franchisable? Like, where you've just left us with no
Mm,
advice. So it's definitely something that we always bear in mind. And I think as I do my consultancy work, if I come across areas that, maybe a fellow woman in business, and they sort of say, I wish there was something like that in our
Yeah.
area, then
Yeah.
it's definitely something that we would pick up again. But yeah, we just sort of moved on from that to scale the business.
Yeah.
But it is in the back of my head all the time. And if I speak to someone that maybe wants to come and work for us or says, "Oh, that's a really good idea. I wish I had something like that for my mum and dad," I'm like, well, you could, have your own little business, can you?
Fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm always thinking
Open.
about it. Yes, yes,
Okay. So if anyone is listening to this and going, oh my gosh, that sounds like absolutely brilliant. Like I've been looking for something, or,
yes.
I want to do something different, something that makes a difference, something that makes an impact, a positive impact, then
Hmm.
they can get in touch with you.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, because the more people, the amount of people that I know out of area,
Mm,
um, for instance, I think we talked about it with you, didn't we? But the amount of people that I know that live around the country, there probably are services like ours, but to actually invest in a business that's already set up
hmm.
with all the paperwork you need and everything all the knowledge you need and our support, like a business in a box,
Yeah.
especially for mums. Um, it's for me personally, it would be a no-brainer. I wish someone did that to me at the beginning of my journey, if I'm honest. It would have been a whole lot
Oh,
easier.
absolutely, absolutely. But we live and learn, don't we? And you've made the mistake so that others don't have to. And
Exactly.
that's what I love about business and being on this journey.
Yes.
Fabulous. Okay, so if people, so two more things. So the first one is a top tip or a piece of advice or a quote that you love that would help other mums out there. And then the second thing is your what are they called? Your social media links and
Me
where we can
handles. Me handles.
your
Me hand.
handles, love.
Yeah. Me handles, as we say, are in Essex.
Yeah.
We don't all speak like that, by the way. My biggest tip would be you've got to try. Well, you have to not listen to negative Nellies and surround yourself with people that help you grow rather than get you cowering in a corner. Not that any of your friends and family do that. And I was on some training not that long ago, and they basically said, sometimes your other half isn't your biggest cheerleader. Sometimes your best friend isn't your biggest cheerleader. Don't look for it in them
Mm,
because they may never tell you what they want you to hear, even your parents may be. It's not because they're not proud of it, it's not because they don't want you to do it. It's just they don't get you, they don't get what you're doing. So surround yourself with those people that get what you're doing. Um, yeah, that's it. Mic drop.
love that.
Um, yeah, that's one of my biggest things that I've had to fight over the years. Um, because people also they might question what you're doing and they don't mean it in a horrible way. It just comes out in the wrong way because they just don't understand what you're doing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
as
And
simple as that.
I like what you've just said as well there about you said don't look for it in them. Like my dad, I think he texted me once to say he was proud of me. But when we were in Spain in 2023, one of his friends came to me. I mean, he'd had a few drinks, but I still believe what he said, like through and through. Said, your dad's so proud of you.
Yeah,
And I will never, ever, like, never, ever forget that because it just
no.
meant so much because some people can't say how they're feeling.
Hmm. Yeah,
It's just not who they are. Um, So I love that, and actually that's a very, very good point for reflection as well, I think.
yeah,
Don't expect it, like don't look for it in them.
yeah, yeah.
Go
Because
where
you will
you
be
know you
looking
will get it. Yeah.
a long time.
And you'll be disappointed, and
Yeah,
then that could, dampen your fire. I love that. Oh
you
my
can
God,
take
this
that
is
with
only
you.
episode 2, and I'm like absolutely loving these. Right, where can people
Good.
find you? Where can people find you?
Oh, everywhere. Where can't you find me? I'm on LinkedIn, Lucy Piper, Elderly Care Expert. They're all very easy handles. You can find me on Facebook, Lucy Piper. On Instagram, I'm underscore Lucy Piper underscore, just to spice it up a little bit. And you can send me an email, whatever you want. My details will be on in all of those places, providing I've kept my bio up to date.
Fabulous, brilliant. And I will put in
Um,
the show notes underneath,
yes,
it will all be in that as well. So if you can send all those over to me, that would be
yeah,
amazing.
perfect. I will do that. Um,
Um, Is that all of them?
Yeah, no, I mean I've got a little. If you are on an elderly care journey and you want to join a group, like you were saying, they are a great place to just pull it in a little bit, so you haven't
Hmm.
got all the noise of social media around you. The Elderly Care Support Hub. So I'll send you that as well. But yeah, they're all the places.
Amazing. Well, thank you so, so much for joining us today. It's been absolutely amazing having a chat, and I know that we could just talk for hours and hours and
Yes,
hours.
we could, couldn't
Um,
we? All day podcast. Maybe there's a
absolutely.
fundraiser in there.
Well, this is the thing, a 24-hour. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? That would be pretty cool, a 24-hour. Oh,
Podcastathon.
yeah. Right, anyway, before we go further into that, because we're both magpies,
Shiny
um,
object.
I need my sleep. So that might, anyway, 12 hours could work. But anyway,
Yeah.
on that note, thank you all so much for
No,
listening.
thank
Thank you,
you.
Lucy, for your time and your expertise. And I will speak to you all very, very soon. Take care.
See you later.